Yo, 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 welcome to Team Radd Titan, and today we've got my new boy over here. This is Mike Wells. He's been he's been part of our team for a really long time. Actually, Mike was the first ever collector that we went to see and do a room tour and everything with. So, if you might remember that, Mike sort of was camera shy and all nervous. It's taken us 7 years to get you here.
Yeah.
No, about 5 years actually for you. Andy was about 7 years to get him on. Today's been a day of firsts. But what we're going to be reviewing today is the Sideshow Collectibles Punisher Premium Format exclusive. Now this came out in 2019. This is owned by Gary Speed. We're going to be going through the piece, telling you honestly what we think, and then we'll let you know, is all the hype good, or is all the negatives true? You'll find out here, because Alex or not, the truth will well out. Okay, so like we were saying, we're going to be going over the Sideshow Collectibles Punisher Premium Format exclusive. Now this is there's 2,000 exclusives, which is the skull portrait, and then you get 4,000 regulars. I believe you get all the add-ons here. When you take it out of the box, you've got this is actually quite a finicky little thing you've got to be quite careful of to get it in. It actually went in with no problem, but you just got to, ease it in nice and gently. So this is, like we were saying, this is Gary Speed's piece. He picked it up, and on the whole, he was happy with it. And when we pulled it out, I was not so happy with it. But we'll get onto that now. So let's start onto the base. Yeah? What do you reckon, Mikey?
Yeah, I was looking at this earlier, and it's a bit sort of all one tone, really. When the first early pictures were shown, sort of like had a nice sort of marble sort of effect on the steps.
It was like a different colour though, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm sure it was a different colour. It was like more...
It's sort of whiter. It looked marble.
It looked more like white with some grey highlights in it, which this actually looks more like grey with very faint white highlights just around the edges of the broken stone. I've got to be honest with you, I'm quite disappointed in the difference between the prototype and production bases, to be fair. I'm not feeling that too much. The bullet things look pretty cool. I mean, do they all like come away, or... So I remember some of them, I think it's Iron Studios one's actually magnetised on there, they've got like an area you just sprinkle all the bullets around.
I think there was more bullets on the base on the proto than there.
Yeah.
There's only a few on there now. But.
So when you start moving into it and you start working your way up, the thing is with this is on the Facebook groups, which we've seen, there was a lot of sort of aggravation going on when this head was revealed, and then they put, obviously you're going to get put up with the prototype, and then it goes against the production, and then everyone starts talking and sort of going, oh my god, it's so different and it's so bad, and there's close-ups and there's every angle. The funny thing is, skipping all the body part, we'll get onto that shortly, but actually I think that the skull portrait may be the best thing about it. Yeah? Is it as good as the prototype? I don't think it is, the paint, but I still think it may be the highlight of this piece, to be brutally honest. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. As I say, it's always hard to do something that is, like, say, 2,000, you say, of these.
Yeah.
When you're mass producing that sort of thing, it's hard to get it. They all look pretty consistent as well. When I've seen pictures and everything, they all look pretty much fancy.
It's a clean paint job. Yeah. Eyes are nice and everything else. I don't know, man. I think that's probably the highlight of it for me. I'm going to get sort of onto the body and everything as we sort of go. So we'll start on the boots and sort of work our way up from there. They're sculpted really well. They definitely look like combat boots. The laces look great. There's absolutely no issue there. Then you start getting into the trousers. The texture's great. It actually, it looks like the good ripples on there. It's not ridiculous. I mean, some statues have some really ridiculous sort of gathering and things going on. It actually looks pretty decent. But what's striking me about this piece is how fucking bored of it I am within 5 minutes, because it just is all sort of one color everywhere. And I know you can sit here and say, oh, it's tactical and he's meant to be almost invisible, and he's meant to be all of this, but I just find that the difference between the top and the bottom is almost non-existent in terms of texturing and color. It's almost the same thing. I just find it a little bit like
shame, there's quite a lot of detail in it as well. When you look at, they even got like the zips and things done, but it sort of gets lost with everything else, doesn't it?
Because of how much darkness and things that are in there. I mean, I think nothing really stands out for me. That The grenades just look really plastic in person. The gun looks kind of plasticky in person. This smoke thing has lost a lot of detail and shape. I mean, you really could make out the skull with relative ease. And although you can see it, some people put the angle on funny and it didn't look like it at all. But I just think it's harder to make out now. It just looks like wonky smoke as opposed to, oh, it's the symbol, the Punisher symbol coming out of the handgun.
I don't know if there's any shading on it before as well, but as you say, it just doesn't really look anything like the skull's hard to make out.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely get the sort of combat sort of uniform and bits and pieces, but I would have really liked to have seen some more sort of zips and some more separation in the colours between the buckles and the trousers and the belt. It's all very, very samey, which is a shame. Then you start going up to the next part, you go up into the t-shirt, and that Punisher logo's pissed. Like, it literally looks like it's been stuck on slightly sideways. And it's really, once your eyes are alerted to it and you know it's there, it's really hard to unsee it. So it's like one of them things that someone will point out to you and you'll be like, oh, why did you tell me? You know, I really didn't want to see that. But what do you think? Is it just me?
No, I think it needs to be a bit brighter, really. Just like I say, it just all blends into one.
But is it straight? Because it don't look straight to me.
It looks like it's coming over more this way than it is.
Yeah. And I don't think you can with the gather of the t-shirt, as he's slightly over to one side, but I don't think it's quite as violent enough of a twist to justify that sort of movement on that top. It just looks a little bit too severe. What do you think about the skin textures on it?
Well, we was talking about this earlier, and I think it's quite well done on the arms. But when you put it up to the portrait we had on the
so this is the collector's edition, yeah.
If you put it right up to his arm, it's quite striking how different it is. It's very dark on the portrait up to the
compared to the arm, definitely, yeah. But we'll have to put that head on and have a look at it. What about all the guns and everything else? What do you think?
Quite like this gun. I don't think it's too bad. But on this gun here, it just, as you say, with the grenades, they tend to look quite plasticky, sort of.
It's a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the prototype actually had, which Alex was telling me, the prototype actually, which he's seen in person, it had more of a white wrapping round the bat as opposed to this orangey yellow thing, and it had blood splatter going up the bat, which has now been completely changed, which is a shame because I think they're nice touches that you probably want to keep.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think through Marvel licensing?
I don't think. I don't know if it'd get that far though. I mean, if they showed it on the prototype, it would have been approved. Yeah. So I think if there is blood splatter on there, which I can't see any, it's so muted. It really, and to be honest with you, it looks like no bat I've ever seen. It doesn't really look like a baseball bat, does it? No. It's got like a funny colour, almost like a grey sort of. I mean, I've seen numerous bats. It doesn't look like any bat I've ever seen. It would be nice to have seen a nice proper wooden, grained bat with some some writing. Like a proper bat. That's what you'd want to see. Also, I've got to say, the pose is quite concerning because it actually looks to me like it's going to go over. I don't know if anybody else can see that, but it looks like it's very front heavy and all the weight is sort of leaning onto this foot. Yeah. Which I think long term we might have a little bit of a problem with it.
I think it's hard to do though with like a walking pose anyway. You don't really see.
And on a step, innit? It's like stepping down, innit? On the thing. I mean, in terms of like the paint on the arms and the sculpt and things, I think it looks pretty decent. But like Mike was saying, you can see there when you just do a little side on side comparison, you can sort of see the colours, and he is really dark, man. That's Michelangelo Castellio. that is not a. I mean, I know he's meant to be Italian, but his head is Italian and his arms are not. No. Let's change him over and have a little look and see. We'll go through this way. Very close to the bat as well. Actually, you can even see when I stick the head on, the bat sort of moves because it actually is rested up against the back of his head. Right, Mike, have a look at that. What do you think? You reckon?
Yeah, I mean, when you put the portrait on, the arms don't look as bad. It's not as, doesn't stick out as much.
Not as obvious, is it? But side by side, you can definitely see a slight skin tone. Well, it's actually a few skin tones off. Yeah. But you could say, the argument would be that he's dirty, right? That he's like, his arms clearly are not. He cleaned his arms, but he didn't bother with his face.
But that would be another thing as well. Look how clean he is, considering
where he lives, how he acts, what he does.
I mean, everything else is smashed to fuck, and he's like,
That's a very good point.
Super cool.
Like, literally the stairs didn't make it, but he's fine. There's not a mark on him. Well, he is the Punisher, isn't he? So maybe that's part of it. I've got to be honest with you, I really dislike this portrait a lot. Very much. And I'll tell you why. I don't like his threaded, manicured, tailored, decorated eyes. His eyebrows are absolutely, that's almost like he'd put a dress on. That's how well his eyes have been made up. I think it's a little bit too, they're too violent. The big curve and the really feathered in. It looks like he sat in one of them chairs and had them ladies with the old strings and have a go at him, Yeah. And he's paid good money for it as well. It is painful to do, but this is. Yeah. I'm sorry, mate. I love you to death, but a spade and all them sort of things. A road's by any other name.
We've been quite negative about it, but I don't know. There is something I quite like about it.
There's something you quite like about it. Tell me what it is. I want some positivity because there's nothing I like.
I do love the sculpt. I've got to admit, I do think that it's one of the strongest thing about it.
The sculpt itself.
Yeah, I think it does look pretty good, and I like the belts and the straps and the things that go around. I think they're done really well.
You like the combat sort of straps and stuff across his back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you start looking at different points. As I say, there are a lot of negatives, and I think if as we were sort of talking earlier, a bit of better paint job and that on it, I think could have totally transformed it. But if
I'm going to ask you, right, because you were actually considering picking this piece up, right? Are you still considering it? Genuinely, it's fine if it is or not. It doesn't really make it. After seeing it in person, underneath the lights, having all the time in the world to make a decision that other people have not had, it's a gift to have. Would you be picking this up?
I wouldn't be spending $600 or whatever it is on it. I think if I could pick it up cheaper, and if I could pick it up cheaper, I definitely would. But it's not a piece I'd probably spend $600 on, plus customs and shipping.
Let's talk about this. How thick is that, and where is it broken? And honestly, this is just really a terrible job in every capacity.
It looks like the charcoal.
It really does. It looks like the pens, the thing. It doesn't look like it's broken. It's almost like a steak that you'd stab about. It's a really posh vampire steak that It doesn't look broken. It's really thick as well. Like it's like as a cane, it's really too thick. You see what I mean? Yeah. There's honestly, it's very hard. These are the reviews that they're sad because they're going to get. This is going to get a lot of sort of negativity, but it's just what it is. If I sit here and say it's fine, and then I'm just lying, and I honestly can't do that.
It doesn't even look like it's
broken. No, it doesn't. No, that's my point. And it's really thick. Like if it was a real I know Kingpin is a beast, but really a cane that's like that. In like quarter scale, it's like that thick. It's like ludicrous. It needed to be more delicate. I would have definitely put some jagged splits in it, and then I would have had the other end broken as well. You're talking about minimal work here. I'm not talking. You don't need to be a genius to do this stuff. This is just lazy for me. And I have to say, nothing bothers me about the fact it doesn't match the prototype. To be brutally honest with you, it's a massive insult to even suggest that it's on the same level. The people that paint the prototypes for Sideshow are the best painters in the world. They spend a lot of time, and it costs a lot of money to do. The version that you receive is done in a factory line in China by people you don't know who are not half as skilled. So to try and suggest it's the same or it's better, it's just not possible. And you shouldn't expect it to be so. Any way that you do expect that, sometimes the deviation is not as violent as others, but that's also due to a lot of factors. It's due to how complex the paint is. Skin tones are hard. Skin tones are really difficult. And if that head went to a different factory, they can't match the body. That's all it takes. Something as simple as that. And then it's slightly off. And I don't think it looks as bad on actually as thing, but you shouldn't expect it to. If you can get it to like 70%, I consider it a win, a massive win for the factory that produced it. This isn't 70%, but that's a different story altogether. I think what I like, if I'm going to be honest about it, the thing that I like about it has a bit of presence. Yeah. It's got some size and it's got some mass. I like the physique on it. I like that he's got decent sized lats and chest, and a thickness through his abdomen, which looks like somebody who's doing pull-ups and push-ups, and he doesn't look like a polished, like the comiquette, you know, the sculpted body. He looks like somebody who looks after himself, has got good genes, and is quite thick built and powerful. I like that part of it, but that's probably where it ends for me.
I like what they've done with the swap outs as well, that you don't see the seams.
You mean the way that the head is engineered on and stuff?
Yeah.
And the same with the gloves, isn't it? Because the gloves got the sort of the way they peg in is they've got the bandages underneath, actually on the joint, which is actually really, really well done. It's a good point actually to make. Yeah. Okay, let's have a little look. Let's get some positivity in here, Mike. Let's be happy about it. So I'll quickly measure it and then we'll go from there. Let's take off the I'm going out dancing in my dress face, and we'll put, maybe, I don't know, it could be 30 inches tall. I'm not sure. It's not. It's got to be like, we'll go from the top, we'll go from the back. Let's have a look. So it's got to be that's the tallest point in at the back. I would say just over 21.5 inch probably. So I would say 54.2, 54.3 width wise. That's displayable, isn't it? So it's not really that even wide. Let's go from here. I would say that's around, do you agree with me, about 14 inches? Safely, I would say about there. 13.5, so 35 centimeters. And then, yeah, it's definitely from the step, isn't it? So from the step, front, well under. Well, for the back, think further. I would say about there, yeah. I can see it from there. I'd say it's 12. Yeah, easily. So that's 32, 33 centimeters. Okay. Now that I've been overly negative about it, and I mean, I've been lucky, been blessed. I've seen Comiquette, the original premium format, the XM version on the bike, Imagine Iron Studios version. How many other Punishers are there? I've seen a couple of Bowens, which are fantastic, by the way. Custom, Punishers, but there's one really bad one. There's a really bad one at the moment. That was much worse than this. But there's a couple of custom versions too. All right, I'm gonna ask you. We'll put it to the crowd now. He's not. You ready? Okay, so let's put it to the crowd. You know, what are we in now? Like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and we've got the hardcore peeps now. Give me some positivity about this. Tell me what's great about it. Go. Who have got something to say? Vas.
This is better than the Iron Studios.
You think it's better than Iron Studios?
So look at this one and that one, and this one is better. With all the effects and the plastic parts, this one is and the painting and the colors that don't match. This, you look at this statue and you look at that statue, and this is a better piece.
Now, if you're saying that, I'm going to do a comparison video just after this. I will. Let's put it to the point.
What I like about this piece is it tells a story. There's a narrative. He's literally invaded the Kingpin's lair, probably either killed or severely maimed the Kingpin because broken staff. He's stepping through the devastation like an angel of death. And that, to me, is what the Punisher is. He's an avenging angel. He is literally the bringer of destruction. And this piece, to me, conveys that utterly. Now,
he's a sexy fucker. I would go out.
So I'm speaking about it from a sculptural.
He got called Mist in the fucking first one.
Madame, I will take you home.
I'm speaking about this from a sculptural, conceptual, and design point of view. Those are the pluses. Okay. Negative is the paint is a little bit on the bland side. There's a significant mismatch between the regular portrait and the arms, as we've stated. You put the two together and it looks different ethnicity. Smoke, I think it was a brave experiment that kind of went wrong. It just looks odd. I would never display it with that. It looks like candy floss has got stuck to the Punisher's gun. The back, what on earth is it with a wood that's got one tone at the end and a lighter tone on the other? Just doesn't make any sense. I think this piece, unfortunately, needs a repaint. And you're looking at anywhere from 100 to 300 quid to get that. Which, if you're paying this kind of dollar, you shouldn't have to do that. But for me, I couldn't have that in my collection without a complete head-to-toe repaint.
I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah,
I think that's incredibly valid.
So the thing is, for me, this isn't a $600 piece. This is more like an $800 piece.
No,
That's
yeah,
the kind of
8 to a K. Yeah.
8 to a K that I'm going to have to spend to have it looking the way I want.
The way it could look, the way it should
The
really
potential,
look.
the potential.
You need to sort out that skull as well. Do you think the skull's straight, or is that just me?
The skull is wonky. It doesn't make any sense. You look at it and there's literally, it looks like it's sort of like being twisted, but it doesn't match the actual movement in his torso. It just doesn't make sense.
Very eloquently said, sir. Well done. You've got it, Andy. You've got the piece. What do you like about it?
What Dan said is spot on. I mean, the skull for me, it's like you said, it's an eyesore.
Yeah,
Once you
it
see
just
it, you
bothers you
can't-
once you
You
know
can't
it.
unsee it.
Yeah, it's
I just
definitely
want to
that.
straighten those teeth at the end ends, put them to the
Yeah.
right hand side.
Yeah.
I never use the smoke.
You think all the pieces we've seen today, we probably spoke about this piece more than the other pieces. It just goes to show that there is something there, like you were saying,
100%.
but it's just missed on so many things, you know, which is a shame.
Yeah.
You know.
Gary, it's your piece. What do you love about it? What were you disappointed with?
I don't know, but like you said earlier about the story type thing and the presence. I liked what that was, but it's just I don't know. You said about the unpainted
Yeah.
face. Yeah, that's not too good.
But let's be honest, you have the exclusive. You're never using that. The best part on this statue that everyone was going ape shit about and kicking off about, it's the best fucking part, which is the skull head. That is the best part on it.
Yeah,
And you are never changing that head. No. If you have this piece, that head don't come off. Clearly, right?
Yeah.
I think if the bat had blood splatter on it, I think that'd make it a little bit better.
Yeah, it's just little touches.
And obviously, I didn't realise about the skull on the
Shirt.
shirt. But to be honest, I don't know.
You got the premium format, the OG, the original. Do you prefer it? Or do you like this more? Because that doesn't have this presence. Hard, isn't it? Hard.
See, I think this is a better piece than the
I agree.
by far.
Yeah.
With a top draw paint job, this piece for me would be probably the definitive.
Fancy function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
With
Good
a
thing you know
world-class
Ian
paint
Wilkinson,
job.
mate, innit? He fucking sorts out for you
World-class,
in a
150
week.
quid. Ian will probably turn
Vince,
it into a world.
anything?
Actually, when I saw it, originally when it first came out, I looked at it and I loved it. I thought it was fabulous on the pictures and everything else.
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah,
it in the flesh now, and what everyone said, they are valid points, exactly what you're saying about it. I find it very bland. I thought it was going to be a bit more poppy to me, but it's not. And to be honest with you, I'm glad I'm getting the XM Studios piece, to be honest with you.
The bike.
I prefer it, yeah, because I think that's the best Punisher. But like the lads were saying, if you can get that guy in with Wilkinson, your friend, to actually repaint that, I reckon that could look something really nice, yeah.
Ian might have a big queue of Punisher paint jobs coming up.
He only do one.
You shouldn't have
Whoever
to
gets
spend-
in there first, he only do one, he won't do any more. Yeah, that's all he does is one. Better phone him now.
That's the thing. You shouldn't have to.
No, you
To
shouldn't.
spend
You
that
shouldn't.
sort of money afterwards.
Okay.
By the way, you can repaint the Iron Studio one to be better than this one.
You think so?
You cannot.
You
This
cannot.
one will always be better.
Potentially, this has more, yeah?
I think
That's a Captain Morgan statue with one leg for. I mean, it's boring. This one is different.
I think that's a spot on.
Yeah. I think.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Give our boy Mikey boy, like I think he did a really good job, man. He did a great job. And what we're going to do, you know, follow us on Instagram under Radd_Titan. And if you're if you're on Facebook and you're not a member of a statue collecting group, radtitanstatue.com. Vas will be heavily vetting you, so you know you may have to wait a while before you're accepted. But once you're in there, it's the group to be in. Thanks very much. Mad love. Peace. Right, wait, don't. I need all this. This is important. I need all of this. This is useful. Listen, take your shirt off. We could do with the subs. Yeah? like when we get to you, G-string, nothing else, and then I want you to say with nothing on what you like about this piece. It won't have a fucking BMR. We can try it. Yeah, I'm happy to try anything. I was talking to Vas. Who do you think I was talking to? Of course I'm talking to Vas. Jesus Christ. Well, I'm not talking to my, soon-to-be sister-in-law or something, am I? I'm talking to Bass. Come on, Bass, top off. Let's go.
He only had one beer. At least it's two.
Yeah, he needs another two.